pleasant evening to everybody. And tonight I want to talk about a movie that I really like a lot, Unbreakable with Bruce Willis. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I love Bruce Willis, and just always been a fan of his. I remember when he was on Moonlighting when I was a kid, and then of course Die Hard when he came out with Die Hard in the late 80s. Then I was a fan ever since. And the movie Unbreakable is just one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. It's actually one of my favorite movies, period, of all time. It is, and I'm somebody who loves Superman with Christopher Reeve. All four movies, don't care what the critics say about the third and the fourth one. I really like all of them because I'm a Superman fan, and I think Christopher Reeve was the best Superman we've ever had. And they were great films, but I love Unbreakable. It's totally different from the Superman franchise. I like Superman, I like Batman, I like Thor, Iron Man. I grew up with these heroes and always been into comic books since I was a kid. I don't have a huge collection or anything, but I remember them. Always loved Martian Manhunter, Aquaman, like I said, Thor, the Incredible Hulk. I remember the Incredible Hulk cartoon used to come on. Excuse me, used to come on in the afternoon. That was really awesome. And then I remember there was an episode where he shrank, and I think he had to fight insects, and they shrank the Incredible Hulk. And just anyway, that I'm going off a little bit talking about superheroes, but Unbreakable, I think, is one of the best superhero movies ever. It's different. It's a realistic movie compared to other superhero movies, and I have a lot of I don't want to I don't want to say nostalgia for it because it's not that old of a film. Usually I have nostalgia for films that came out in the 80s, but I like this film a lot, and there is some nostalgia for it because I can relate to this movie quite a bit. I was a security guard myself for 16 years, and I never missed a day of work. I never called in sick. I was sick though. I was sick, but I went to work anyway. I wasn't, I'm not, I'm not like the character in the movie in that sense. I was sick, but I never stayed home when I was sick. And then when I hurt my lower back working out, I still went to work. Even though I didn't have to, I still did. I only missed one day because they told me to stay home because there was too much snow and it was whiteout conditions. I think it was February 2019, if memory serves me right. That was the only day, but they told me to stay home. Only day I missed in 16 years. Never even had a vacation for the last 7 years that I worked there, but that was by choice. Anyway, that's a whole other story. The movie Unbreakable, I think, is awesome. I really like it a lot, and I think that the only thing I wish they would have done more is where he went out looking for the bad guys a bit more. But you get that great scene at the end where he takes out that serial killer, and that's an awesome scene. In Glass, they did that at the beginning where he was going out and going after the bad guys. I only wish they would have done more of that and really focused on that theme, and that idea would have been even better. But this movie, Unbreakable, I've seen many, many, many times. I can relate to it. I work in security. I worked at a different place though. If you're familiar with my channel, and if you've ever seen the Night Shift Enigma galleries that I put on the channel, I'll probably put a couple videos on at the end so you can click on them at the end of this video so you can see them. But yeah, the Night Shift Enigma videos, the Night Shift Enigma gallery, my series of paintings called the Night Shift Enigma series, was inspired mostly by my time working as a security guard, a graveyard shift. Certain odd things would happen, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes funny things, sometimes weird things would happen at night. So it's exaggerated in the Night Shift Enigma series of paintings, but that's on my channel. If you ever want to see it, you can watch those. I got a whole playlist with those. But yeah, Unbreakable, I can relate to certain aspects, and I love the whole comic book angle. Of course, Samuel L. Jackson is trying to find hero in this movie. He's been searching to see if there's someone who is, and this is, I'm going to give spoilers in this review. Most people have seen this movie. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. It's really good. But he's looking for somebody who's pretty much the opposite of him. He has a disease where it's easy for him to break his bones. He's in a wheelchair. He wants to see if he can find somebody who is the opposite, someone who's unbreakable. And that's Bruce Willis. But Bruce Willis is skeptical, obviously, like anyone would be. Very fun movie. It's talking about and trying to make the point that there are people who could be heroes, and they're rare in this movie, obviously. And Bruce Willis can't fly, he can't see through walls, but he has the ability to, if someone shakes his hand, or if he bumps into someone or he makes physical contact, he can see what they've done. And so he can see their crimes, and then he can find out what they did and pursue them. And that's very interesting. And I really love the scenes where he's with his son in the basement working out, where he's trying to lift the weights, and he can lift heavy weights and then heavier and heavier and heavier. So he has super strength also. And I like the movie. It's low key, not a lot of action, not a lot of stuff going on. Some people might think it's very slow, but I think the story really makes the movie. The story, the plot, the whole idea of him possibly being a superhero, and he doesn't accept it. He doesn't really understand who he is, and he hasn't really found his purpose in life. And his wife is pretty much kind of the opposite of him. She doesn't want anything to do with fighting or physical force or violence or anything like that. And so they're kind of the opposite. I can kind of relate to that too, because my wife, I come from a fighting family, so I love watching boxing sometimes. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She says, don't watch that. She doesn't want, she's a very beautiful person, very peaceful person. She doesn't like boxing or anything like that, or wrestling. I love it. So there's there's always been that. So, but she's helped tame me. She's helped calm me down. So you have two forces working together in different ways. We're a good team. But anyway, this movie is one of my all-time favorites. I think it's well done. M. Night Shyamalan. This is a great movie by him. And also I like Signs with Mel Gibson. That's always been one of my favorite movies. Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix. He's got the new movie now, Ridley Scott and Joaquin Phoenix, Napoleon. That looks really good. And then, of course, The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. I enjoyed that too. Unbreakable, though. And then The Sixth Sense. I really enjoyed that. I saw that at the theater. I have to say, though, I think Unbreakable is my favorite out of all M. Night Shyamalan's movies. And it's one of my all-time favorite movies ever, of all time. And I could talk about it for a long time. The area I'm living in now, I can't upload videos that are that long, so I might keep all my videos kind of moderate or not very long, because the area I've moved to, it's so hard to upload. I've mentioned that in other videos. But this movie is a movie that if you haven't seen and you like superhero movies, but you also like movies that are a bit dark in a way, in certain aspects, and if you like movies that are really dependent on a story rather than just explosions and fighting all the time, and if you like movies that are not so average run-of-the-mill superhero type movies, but there's a kind of a dark aspect to it, and then also someone who seeks justice, more of a gritty, realistic part of the movie with the superhero aspect of the movie, then you'll probably like this a lot. It makes you think deeply about stuff, I believe. It's a psychological type movie, which most of M. Night Shyamalan's movies are, dependent on the stories, and very, very dependent on the character development and the direction. And I think he does a good job in here. Everything here seems to match up well and turn out well in this movie. It's one of my all-time favorites. Bruce Willis and his son, the relationship in here between Bruce Willis, his son, and his wife is interesting. And then his son is at the end of the movie when Bruce Willis really finds out that, and his son actually thought that he was a superhero too, and that maybe Samuel L. Jackson's character, Mr. Glass, Elijah, was actually right all along, and they're trying to convince Bruce Willis, hey, maybe you are a superhero. But Bruce Willis was skeptical all the way till the end, until he finds out he is, and then he goes out and fights that, tracks down that guy that he knows is a serial killer. He took over a household with a family in there, killed the husband and the wife, I believe, and then the children were tied up, and Bruce Willis rescues the children, and he takes the guy out, and that's really a great scene. I wish there was more of that in these movies. I think that should be an angle that they should, if they ever make any more in the future, focus on that. I think it would really draw in more audience, because you have this superhero going out after the bad guys in a realistic way. Not flashy, but realistic, I think would be awesome in the future. Maybe they will. But if you haven't seen Unbreakable, I highly recommend it. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and it's one of my very favorite Bruce Willis movies of all time. It's probably right up there in the top 3 or 4 of his movies, closer to the top. And check it out. If you haven't seen it, I think you're in for a treat. If you like this content, I'll be back most likely. God willing, I'll be back and making more videos like this, and a variety, the martial arts movies, the scary movies, and superhero movies. So like and subscribe, share this video, and have a good night, everybody.